Shila Gurudev ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye Nashta Prayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji. Last week we discussed son of Drona punished. Just a quick refresher, if you recall, Arjun arrested Ashwathama and he brought him in front of Draupadi, and Mother Draupadi, Sud Goswami says that Vam Sabhava Kripya Nanamcha. She was so merciful to him, even though he had killed her sleeping sons. She was still very merciful to him, and she told Arjun to release him. But Bhimsen said, no, he has killed our sons, so he needs to be punished. He is an Atatai. And then Lord Krishna was there, and Lord Krishna tells Arjun that Brahma Bandhu Nahantavya Atatai Vadha Arhana. That Brahma Bandhu, a Brahman Bandhu or a relative of a Brahmana should not be killed, but an Atatai should be killed. And then he tells him that these two rules, Ubhayam Amnatam, these are written in the scriptures, or these are directed by me, because Lord Krishna has, the Vedas are spoken by him only. So he says, Ubhau Atma Amnatam, yeah, Parigrahya Anushasana. So you should implement this because these are spoken by me. But then at the same time, he reminds Arjun that Kuru Satyam, Kuru Pratishrutam Satyam, yeah, Yat Tat Santvatya Priyam. So that pratigya, that promise that you had made to pacify your Priya, your wife Draupadi, you should fulfill that promise also. And he had given her a promise that he will go and he will bring the head of Ashwathama, and then she'll be able to stand on his head and then perform the final rites of her sons. So Lord Krishna reminds him that you should do that. You should, because you made that promise to her. And then Krishna also tells him that Bhimsen Priyam cha Bhimsenasya Panchalya Mahyam Evacha. Please do that which is dear to Bhimsen and which is dear to Panchali and which is dear to me also. So as a result, Arjun understood that what is it that Lord Krishna wanted him to do. And then as a result, Arjun punished, Arjun understood. Sud Goswami said that Arjun could understand the motive of the Lord by his equivocal orders, and thus with his sword he severed both his hair and jewel from the head of Ashwathama. And then they released him. Then they released him to go into the forest. Yeah, so that was the last chapter. He was punished and released. So then now we go to today's chapter. So today now what we're going to speak about is the prayers of Kuntī Maharani. Yeah. So what happened, Prabhuji Mataji, after Ashwathama was released, then Lord Krishna was getting ready to go back to Dwarka. Krishna had spent so much time in Hastinapur. Actually, the queens of Dwarka would joke with Krishna that you are spending so much time with Arjun in Hastinapur. Why don't you marry Arjun? Jokingly, they said, why have you got 16,108 wives here, whereas you have no affection for us and you are spending so much time in Hastinapur. So Lord Krishna was getting ready to go back to Dwarka. And as Lord Krishna was getting ready to go back to Dwarka, then suddenly what happened? That Uttara, Mother Uttara, who is wife of Abhimanyu, she ran towards Lord Krishna. She ran towards Lord Krishna and she started praying to Lord Krishna, because Ashwathama, who was released, who was sent into the forest, he again sent another Brahmastra to make them a Pandava, as in to kill or to not to leave any Pandava alive, to finish their vansh, to finish their dynasty. So Ashwathama released another Brahmastra, and then Lord Krishna saved Mother Uttara. And then, as Lord Krishna was about to leave again, then Mother Kunti starts offering heartfelt prayers to Lord Shri Krishna. So today we will discuss those prayers. Yeah, let's recite one verse from the same chapter, and then we will discuss further. I will just share my screen. If you have your phones, it is chapter 1st canto, or otherwise you can see on my screen. You don't need the phones actually. Chapter 8, the verse number is 37. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Apiyadnasvam Swakrite Hita Prabho Jihasasi Swe Suhrido Nujivina Yesham Nachanya Bhavata Padambuja Parayanam Rajasuyojitam Hasam Parayanam Rajasuyojitam Hasam. Word by word translation. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Api, if, adya, today, na, us, tvam, you, swakrita, self-executed, ihita, all duties, prabho, O my Lord, jihasasi, giving up, swith, possibly, suhrada, intimate friends, anujivina, living at the mercy of, yesham, of whom, na, nor, cha, and, anyat, anyone else, bhavata, your, pada ambujat, from the lotus feet, parayanam, dependent, rajasu, unto the kings, yojita, engaged in, amhasam, enmity. O my Lord, you have executed all duties yourself. Are you leaving us today? Though we are completely dependent on your mercy and have no one else to protect us, now when all kings are at enmity with us. So Mother Kunti is describing her feelings to Lord Krishna. As you know that the Ashwathama had released Brahmastra already twice, and that too after the war was sort of over. Duryodhana was killed, but Mother Kunti is showing complete reliance on Lord Shri Krishna, even though they have won the battle. But Mother Kunti, with that feeling, she is praying to Lord Krishna. Yeah, please hear the purport. Very important. We hear, you know, Vani. We hear the Vani of pure saint. You know, so these are written by Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, so let's please hear it carefully. Bhaktivedanta purports ki jai. The Pandavas are most fortunate because with all good luck, they were entirely dependent on the mercy of the Lord. In the material world, to be dependent on the mercy of someone else is the utmost sign of misfortune. But in the case of our transcendental relation with the Lord, it is the most fortunate case when we can live completely dependent on Him. The material disease is due to thinking of becoming independent of everything. But the cruel material nature does not allow us to become independent. Yeah, I'm sure most of you can relate to this, that the cruel material nature does not allow us to become independent. And there are so many efforts, so many initiatives across the world, and everything is to how to become independent of nature. How to defy the laws of the nature. That's what we want to have: snowfall in hot weather. We want to have cold water in hot weather. So all the attempts are being made to go against the laws of the nature. We want to have long life against the law of the nature. So many things. Yeah. The false attempt to become independent of the stringent laws of nature is known as material advancement of experimental knowledge. The whole material world is moving on this false attempt of becoming independent of the laws of nature. Beginning with Ravan, who wanted to prepare a direct staircase to the planets of heaven down to the present age, they are trying to overcome the laws of nature. They are trying now to approach distant planetary systems by electronic mechanical power. But the highest goal of human civilization is to work hard under the guidance of the Lord and become completely dependent on Him. The highest achievement of perfect civilization is to work with valor, but at the same time depend completely on the Lord. The Pandavas were the ideal executors of this standard of civilization. Undoubtedly, they were completely dependent on the goodwill of Lord Shri Krishna, but they were not idle parasites of the Lord. They were all highly qualified, both by personal character and by physical activities. Still, they always looked for the mercy of the Lord because they knew that every living being is dependent by constitutional position. The perfection of life is therefore to become dependent on the will of the Lord, instead of becoming falsely independent in the material world. Those who try to become falsely independent of the Lord are called anath, or without any guardian, whereas those who are completely dependent on the will of the Lord are called sanath. Yeah. You know how we have anathales, people who doesn't have any guardians or any parents. So we so you have those anathales, foster cares, so many things called sanath, or those having someone to protect them. Therefore, we must try to be sanath so that we can always be protected from the unfavorable condition of material existence. By the deluding power of external material nature, we forget that the material condition of life is the most undesirable perplexity. The Bhagavad Gita therefore directs us that after many births, one fortunate person becomes aware of the fact that Vasudeva is all in all, and that the best way of leading one's life is to surrender unto him completely. That is the sign of a Mahatma. All the members of the Pandava family were Mahatmas in household life. Maharaj Yudhishthir was the head of these Mahatmas, and Queen Kuntī Devi was the mother. The lessons of the Bhagavad Gita and all the Puranas, specifically the Bhagavad Puran, are therefore inevitably connected with the history of Pandava Mahatmas. For them, separation from the Lord was just like the separation of a fish from water. Shrimati Kuntī Devi therefore felt such separation like a thunderbolt, and the whole prayer of the queen is to try to persuade the Lord to stay with them. After the battle of Kurukshetra, although the inimical kings were killed, their sons and grandsons were still there to deal with the Pandavas. It is not only the Pandavas who were put into the condition of enmity, but all of us. Very important, Prabhuji Mataji, please hear this line. It is not only the Pandavas who were put into the condition of enmity, but all of us are always in such a condition. And the best way of living is to become completely dependent on the will of the Lord, and thereby overcome all difficulties of material existence. Srila Bhaktivedanta Purports ki Jai. Let's do Mangalacharan and then we will discuss further. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamlam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitantam Sajivam Sa avdetam savadhutam parijana sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namastute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरोभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे भूतेर्महद्भिर्यैमा पुरो विभो निर्मायशेते यदमोष पुरुषा मुङ्क्ते गुणान् षोडश षोडशात्मकम् सोलंक सृष्ट भगवान वचांसि मे श्री कृष्ण शरणं शरणागतं कथा अमृतं सतत पीबतं भक्ति वेदांत मार्ग पंथनं सर्वलोक ऋषि देव जन्म प्रसन्नम् सर्वलोक ऋषि देव जन्म प्रसन्नम। Hare Krishna. So today we're going to discuss Kuntī Maharani prayers. So let me share my screen again. So this is, as I was saying, Prabhuji Mataji, Lord Krishna was just about to leave, go to Dwarka, and as he got onto the chariot, so Mother Kuntī, actually before Mother Kuntī, Mother Uttara, she ran towards Lord Krishna. And just before that, in continuation, as you know, in last chapter we discussed that Ashwathama had killed the Pandavas, sons of Pandava, and he had killed many other sleeping warriors on the Pandava side. So Pandavas performed the last rites. They went to Ganges. Yudhishthira Maharaj was there, Gandhari was there, Dhritarashtra was there, Kuntī Devi, Lord Krishna accompanied them. They all went to the Ganges. They offered water to all the departed souls. So all the rites, as per the scriptures, they performed those rituals. And then Pandavas were very sad, and Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, they were also there. So everybody was very sad. They were weeping, they were crying, and they were remembering the relatives or the family members that they had lost. And as they were all doing that, then Lord Krishna, Sut Goswami tells Shaunakadi Rishi that Lord Krishna spoke to all of them and he tried to pacify them. and he was telling them that this is the law of the nature. This is, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also, bhutva bhutva praliyate. Yeah, we take birth, we die. People, as per their karmas, they get a body, and then they perform their activities, and then the soul travels. The whole second chapter, first section, is about how Krishna tells Arjun that you are not this body. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavitava na bhuya, that the soul never dies. So Lord Krishna tried to pacify them, all the Pandavas, and then he took their leave. He took their leave and he offered his obeisances to all the seniors, and Vyasdev Rishi was also there, and all the Brahmanas, they offered their prayers, obeisances to Lord Krishna. Even they knew that Lord Krishna is God, and they were offering their prayers to Krishna with that mood. But Krishna also offered his obeisances to them because he was from a Kshatriya background. Yeah? Even in Ramayana, Tulsidasi mentions that Ram Muni Paraspara Navahi. When Lord Ram goes to the forest and he meets all those rishis, so Lord Ram pays his obeisances to them first, being a Kshatriya, and those Munis also pays their obeisances to Lord Ram because he's the supreme personality of God and he's the supreme Lord. So like this, they were having this nice exchange. So similarly, when Lord Krishna was about to leave for Dwarka, Vyasdevji, all the Brahmanas, they offered their obeisances to Krishna, and Krishna also reciprocated. And then Krishna took their leave, and as he was leaving, and as he got onto the chariot, then Mother Uttara comes running because Ashwathama had released another Brahmastra. But before that, Prabhuji Mataji, I just want to give you some understanding of, just so you understand the Vanshavali of Uttara Mata and also Mother Kuntī. Mother Kuntī was sister of Vasudevji. Shursen was her father, as you can see on the right hand side. See Shursen, so who's Vasudevji's father, and Mother Kuntī was the first daughter born to Shursen, and Shursen had promised to Kuntī Bhoj, another king, his relative. So he had promised him, because Kuntī Bhoj did not have any children. So he had promised him that I will give you my first child. And then first child was daughter Mother Kuntī. And Shursen, Maharaj Shursen, he gave a daughter Kuntī to Kuntī Bhoj. From birth, Shursen had named Mother Kuntī as Pritha. That's why Arjun got his name Parth. So her name was Pritha, but when she was given to King Kuntī Bhoj, so she became Kuntī. And it is said that after Kuntī Bhoj got Kuntī, then he had his own children as well, but he always loved Kuntī and as his first daughter, and he was always prepared to do anything and everything for her. So she was very much loved. But other point to see is that from the very birth, Mother Kuntī got separated from her parents. So Mother Kunti's life has been through very many difficulties, as you know. And then Mother Kuntī, then the Swayamvar happened. In fact, before the Swayamvar, when they choose the husband, once Durvasa Rishi had come to the Kuntī Bhoj kingdom, and then the king asked Kuntī to take care of Durvasa Rishi. And knowing Durvasa Rishi, he gets angry very soon. So they knew Kuntī is very expert in caring. So they asked her that you please take care of this Mahatma, this Rishi who had come to our kingdom. So Mother Kuntī served him very nicely. And then Durvasa Rishi was very pleased. And Durvasa Rishi gave her a boon that you can call any demigod, I give you this boon. And with that, any demigod, you can call them. And then after Durvasa Rishi left, then Kuntī tested that mantra. She tested, and then sun god came. As sun god came, then she got scared because she did not expect that. And then sun god told her that now that I have come, I cannot go without giving you a boon. So then sun god gave her a son. and then she gave birth to Karan. But because it was before marriage, and she thought it was inappropriate, so she gave away the child, and the first son Karna was given away. So she put him into a basket in a river, and then, as the further story. So, and then Kunti Maharani, when the Swayamvar happened, when they choose their own husband, so she chose Pandu Maharaj, and she got married to Pandu Maharaj. And then Pandu Maharaj got married to another, he had another wife by the name of Madri. Yeah. And then both of them, and then once Pandu Maharaj had gone to the forest, and when he was in the forest, by mistake, he killed a rishi who was then associating with his wife. So because he killed that rishi by mistake, then that rishi cursed him. And he told him, whenever you try to associate with your wife, you will die immediately. So, and then Pandu Maharaj then renounced the kingdom, and he went and started living into the forest. And Pandu Maharaj, along with Kunti and Madri, they were living in the forest. And then the Pandu Maharaj requested Kunti, because then he was always feeling that I don't have any children, and I can't have any children because of the curse of that rishi. So then Kunti Maharani told Pandu Maharaj that I got this boon from the Vasa Rishi. And then Pandu Maharaj asked Kunti Maharani that you please chant that mantra and have and let's have children. But then she was hesitant. So then Pandu Maharaj said, okay, so you first call dharma. If this mantra is as per dharma, as per religious principle, only then the dharma God will come. So as she chanted the mantra, then the dharma God came. Yeah, and as the dharma came, then so the first son was born Yudhishthira Maharaj, and then Bhimsen, Vayuputra, by the wind god, and then came, and then Arjun was born from Indra, and then Nakul and Sahadev from Ashwini Kumars. They became son of Madri, both of them. So like this, she was living in the forest, and they had 5 sons. One day, Pandu Maharaj went into the forest, and then as he tried to associate with Madri, then he straight away died because of the curse of that rishi. Now, as Pandu Maharaj died, then Madri was feeling very guilty about that, and then as per rituals, as per Vedic norms, the wife will enters into the pyre to become sati. Now both of them were trying to become sati, but then it is said that the Vyas Devji came, and other rishis in and around the forest, they also came. And then Madhuri said to Kunti that let me enter into the pyre. But Kunti said, no, let me enter into the pyre because I am the elder and you are the younger. But then Madhuri said, no, I think my heart is not as pure as your heart. I know even if I'm not there, you will treat all these 5 children equally, but I'm not so confident about myself that I will be able to treat all of the 5 equally. I might become favorable to my own sons. So maybe you please allow me to enter into the path. And then other rishis, and they came and they agreed with Madhuri's proposal. And then Madhuri entered into the fire and she became Sati. Now Kunti Maharani was now left without husband, and she had these 5 children. Now, after consulting with Vyasdevji and other rishi, she comes back to the kingdom, Hastinapur. And as she comes back to Hastinapur, by now Dhritarashtra had become the king, even though he was a caretaker. And his son Duryodhana thought he is going to be the king. He is the prince. So he will be the next king. So they did not welcome Kunti Maharani. And specifically, they did not like the children, and they raised questions. They raised questions on her chastity. They actually taunt her. They said to her, no, who knows that whether these children are genuine children or not, whether they are Pandu Maharaj's children or not. And they started calling her Vyabhicharini. Vyabhicharini as in you are not chaste, you have done something wrong. And like this, Kunti Maharani she went through a lot of difficult times, but then Bhishma Pitamaha and Vidurji, and so when they intervened, then they were given a proper living place in the palace. And then follow on, through Mahabharata that Kunti Maharani, she went through a lot of difficult times. And as we discuss these prayers, Prabhuji Mata, we will understand her emotions, her surrender to the Supreme Lord. But just to go back to this, as you see this Vanshavali, so she was Shursen's daughter. You often see Lord Krishna calling Kunti Bua or auntie. Bua is father's sister. So that's how they are related. That's why Lord Krishna will call her Bua. Now Shursen had a son Vasudev and Kunti. He had many other children also, but for now we'll just discuss about this. But now Vasudevji had two sons, Krishna and Balaram, and also had a daughter Subhadra. Yeah. Now Kunti was married to Pandu Maharaj. Yeah, you can see here. Let's just start from here on the left hand side. So Parashar Rishi is son of Shakti Muni, and Shakti Muni is son of Vasishtha Dev, and Vasishtha is son of Brahmaji. He is a Manas Putra of Brahmaji. So Parashar, and from Parashar and Satyavati, Vyasdevji was born. Yeah, and then from Vyasdevji, Vidur is one of Vyasdevji's son, as you know. Now coming here, then Shantanu Maharaj Shantanu married to Satyavati and Ganga. Shantanu and Ganga, they had a son Bhishma Pitamaha, yeah, and then who took a pratigya. Now Shantanu Maharaj and Satyavati, they had two sons, Chitrangad and Vichitravirya. Chitrangad died early, and then Vichitravirya, he, as you know, Bhishma Pitamaha, he got and he brought these wives for him, Ambika, Ambalika, and Amba. Yeah, Amba, whom Vichitravirya did not marry, and then that's a different pastime. But for now, let's look at this. So Ambika and Ambalika. Now, from Ambika and Ambalika, Vichitravirya also got unwell, and he died early. And then there was no one to take care of the kingdom. Only Bhishma Pitamaha was left, and Bhishma Pitamaha had already taken a vow to not to marry. Then Mata Satyavati, she called Vyasdevji, and then from Vyasdevji, so they had two sons. Now Ambika had Dhritarashtra, and Ambalika had Pandu Maharaj. Yeah, and then Vidur from a maid servant. Yeah? And then Dhritarashtra got married to Gandhari, who is daughter of Subal, and you remember this name Shakuni. So Shakuni was brother of Gandhari. Gandhari got married to Dhritarashtra, and then Dhritarashtra and Gandhari had Duryodhan, Dushasan, and 98 brothers, 100 sons, and one daughter, Dushala. Yeah, and then Pandu Maharaj married to Kunti and Madri, and they had Nakul and Sahdev, as I just mentioned to you, twin gods from Ashwini Kumars. Nakul and Sahdev were born, and then Dharamputra Yudhishthir, and then Bhim Vayuputra, and Arjun by Indra, demigod. Yeah, so they had these 5 sons, Kunti Maharani, Panduputra, and Madri. Yeah, and then they got married to Draupadi. Draupadi was daughter of Drupad Maharaj, and Drupad Maharaj had a son Shikhandi and Drishtadumna. Yeah, so Shikhandi was none other than the Amba, who was the third sister of Ambika and Ambalika, and in her next birth she became Shikhandi, and she was born as Shikhandi, and he was impotent, or he was not a man or a woman, and then Shikhandi became the reason of Bhishma Pitamaha's death. Yeah? But let's stay focused on Kunti Maharani, and then from Draupadi, Arjun. Yeah, and then Arjun also got married to Subhadra, who is daughter of Vasudeva. Arjun and Subhadra got married, and from their association they had Abhimanyu, and Abhimanyu was married to Uttara, and Uttara was daughter of Virat, Matsya Naresh Virat. Yeah, so Virat's daughter Uttara, and Abhimanyu and Uttara, from their association they had Parīkṣit Maharaj, and then Parīkṣit Maharaj's son is Janmeja Maharaj. Yeah? So this is a brief understanding, Prabhuji Mataji. So Arjun and Uttara, when Pandavas were in the forest, Agyatwas, when they have to live incognito in the in the forest. So they went and lived in the Virat Nagar, or in the kingdom of Virat Purush, Virat king. And then Arjun, in the disguise of Brihnala, who was teaching the dance, so he taught dance to Uttara. And it is said that when when the king Virat found out who Brihnala actually is, then he told Arjun to marry Uttara. But then Arjun said, no, I can't marry her, because my relationship with her is like a father and daughter, because I have been her teacher for about a year, so I can't marry her. But then Arjun said, I will accept her as my daughter-in-law for Abhimanyu. So that's how this relationship or this marriage happened. And then Abhimanyu got married to Uttara, and from their association, Parīkṣit Maharaj was born. So now let's go to this thing. So as you can see, Lord Krishna was about to leave. Yeah, let's go back. He was about to leave. He paid his obeisances to all the Brahmanas. He's taking leave from the Pandavas. And as he was just getting onto the chariot, then suddenly Uttara comes running to Krishna. Lord Krishna, she came running, and she is praying, and she's saying, she's offering prayers, and she's saying to him, Pahi Pahi Mahayogin Deva Deva Jagatpate Na Anyam Tvad Abhyam Pashe Yatra Mrityu Parasparam. So she is praying to him because now Ashwathama had released the Brahmastra on Uttara, because he wanted to make them a Pandava. As in without, so he wanted to just finish their dynasty. And not just one Brahmastra, he also released another 5 arrows, which was for the 5 Pandavas. And he released the Brahmastra on Uttara, and Uttara was pregnant, because she had Parīkṣit Maharaj in her womb, so she was pregnant. And as she saw Brahmastra coming, she straightaway ran to Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna, who was about to leave, and she's offering these prayers. She's saying, Pahi Pahi Mahayogin, please protect me, Mahayogin, oh the greatest of the mystics. Yeah. Dev Dev Jagatpate. Dev as in you are the God of the gods. Jagatpate, you are the source of this whole universe. Everything emanates from you, right? Please, na anyam tvad. So she says, without you, there is no one else. Na anyam tvad. Without you, there is no one else who can give me abhay, who can make me fearless. My dear God, I don't see anyone around me who can make me fearless. Because in this world, mrityu parasparam. Because here in this world, everyone is becoming a reason for others' death. And as you can see around you, Prabhuji Mataji, if in any relationship, we don't have Krishna in the center, ultimately those relationships fall apart. You can look around even within your own families, within your own society, within your own work environment, anywhere you see. Because sooner or later, our false egos come in. Sooner or later, our envious nature comes in. So that's what Mother Uttara is saying, because here nobody can save anyone, because everyone becoming a reason for everyone's death. Yeah. In the 6th canto, we will discuss. Naradji very nicely explain. Naradji says, this river, this bhava is like a river which is flowing in the both sides. Bhava pravaha. Bhava as in flow. So he's saying it is flowing in the both sides. One side is the creation and one side is destruction. Creation is happening, destruction is happening, both happening side by side. And all we want to do is, we want to cross over this bhava pravaha. We want to get across this both sides of creation and destruction. So that's what she prays to Lord Shri Krishna. And as she is praying, our Acharya says, this itself shows the dependence of Pandavas on Shri Krishna. Because Arjun was also there. Yudhishthira was there, Bhimsen was there, they were all standing there. But Uttara knew very clearly who is the Supreme Lord, who is the Supreme Controller. She could have gone to Arjun that, please save me. Right? Arjun had been her teacher as well. Arjun was her father-in-law. He is the greatest archer, but no. So she straightaway ran to Lord Shri Krishna. And then it is said that Supreme Lord Krishna, who is so merciful to his surrendered devotees, then Lord Krishna straightaway, then Lord Krishna straightaway tried to save. Yeah, he says that Lord Krishna, who resides, Sud Goswami now telling the Supreme Lord who resides within everyone's heart as Paramatma, just to protect the progeny of Kuru dynasty, he covered the embryo of Uttara by his personal energy. He says, Antastha Sarva Bhutana Atmana Yogeshwaro Hari. Yeah, Swamayaya Avrinad Garbham Vairatya Kurutantave. Yeah. So that Supreme Lord, Krishna, who is Antastha Sarva Bhutana, who is residing in everyone's heart, who is inside in everyone's heart. Yeah. Yogeshwaro Hari, who is the Yogeshwar, once again, who is the greatest mystic. Hari, who can take away all our miseries. Hari Shabder Bahuvart, Dui Mukhetam Sarv Amangal Hare, Prem Diya Hare Man. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Kavi Krishnadas Kaviraj records this as one of the statements of Mahaprabhu, where he is describing the word of Hari. So that Yogeshwar Hari, who can take away all the miseries. Yeah. Swamayaya Avranad, by his own maya, by his own potency, he Avranad, he covered the embryo. Yeah, he covered the embryo of Mother Uttara. Yeah, and Vairatya is who is the daughter of Virat Naresh. Yeah, and Kuru Tantave, because Parīkṣit Maharaj, he is going to be the next generation. He is the he will take the Kuru dynasty forward, because everyone had died. So Kuru also, here we are going above. It's not about Dhritarashtra or Pandu Maharaj. It is above, because they are all Kurus, Kuru dynasty. Yeah, actually, what had happened was Duryodhana and all, they started calling themselves real Kurus. That is why they were called Kauravas. Otherwise, they both belong to the Kuru dynasty. If you go to Shantanu Maharaj, the Vanshavali that I showed you, so Shantanu Maharaj belongs to the Kuru dynasty. So they were all Kauravas, all Kurus, but Dhritarashtra's son started claiming, we are the real Kurus, and these are not part of our dynasty, Pandavas. So they were already, so they started calling them Panduputra, Pandavas, and we are real. But Kuru Tantve, yeah. So he is going to take forward the Kuru dynasty. So Lord Krishna, he covered the embryo. Yeah, and he also, actually, my Guru Maharaj says that he entered into the womb, and then he was going around. He himself went into the womb, and he was holding Gada and Chakra, and he was rotating around. Within the womb, he was rotating around to save, to protect the womb. So this is how much Supreme Lord cares for his surrendered devotees. And then as he diffused that Brahmastra, and then he also protected the Pandavas. Now, some people might say that Lord Krishna had taken a vow that I will not pick up any weapon. Yeah, but realistically, if you look at it, the Mahabharata war was over, but not over because Ashwatthama was still alive from the opposition. But the point is, even though the war was over or not over, Ashwatthama was there, but Lord Krishna, to protect his devotees, he still used his Brahmastra. He used his chakra, Sudarshan chakra. Yeah, he used Sudarshan chakra to diffuse the Brahmastra. In the battlefield, he did not picked Sudarshan chakra. He just picked up the wheel of the chariot when Bhishma Pitama was shooting arrows at Arjuna. So to protect his devotees, the Lordship is ready to go to any extent. Yeah, so that's what Krishna did here. As Uttara approached him, he went into the womb of Mother Uttara, and like I said, my Guru Maharaj says he was going around, and Parīkṣit Maharaj could get the darshan of Supreme Lord within the womb, and that is why his name is called Parīkṣit, because as Parīkṣit Maharaj was born, he was looking at everyone, and he was seeing, is this the person that I saw in the womb? So he looked at everyone. So he was always searching for Lord Krishna, because that's the vision he had seen in the womb of his mother. So he was always, and that is the reason for one of his name is called Parīkṣit. And now, as Sud Goswami is telling Shaunaka Adi Rishi about how Supreme Lord protected Parīkṣit Maharaj, he cautioned them. Now he tells them that this ma mamstha ascharyam hi etad. Yeah, Sarv Ascharya Achyute. So he says the Supreme Lord who is infallible. Yeah, he is the, please don't think this small thing. This is Ascharya as in wonder. Please don't be bewildered by hearing of this Ascharya, of this, of this wonderful pastime of Lord Shri Krishna. What to speak of this pastime? He is the Sarva Ascharya May Achyute. He is the greatest. He is the topmost of all the wonderful pastimes who can perform. This is just a small act that he has performed. Yeah, what to speak of this? What you see around ya idam, yeah, mayaya devya srajati avati hanti aja. So that unborn Supreme Lord, by his maya, yeah, he creates this world. Srajati avati, he maintains this whole thing, and then he also destroys the whole thing. Srajati avati atti Hanti Aja. Yeah, Hanti as in destroys. That's unborn Supreme Lord. He can do anything and everything. The only qualification is surrendered devotee. So here, Sut Goswami tells, "Oh Brahmanas, do not think this to be especially wonderful in the activities of the mysterious and infallible personality of Godhead. By his own transcendental energy, he creates, maintains, and highlights all material things, although he himself is unborn." Yeah? So now Lord Shri Krishna had saved Parīkṣit Maharaj in the womb. And once again, one more thing that I want to share with you. And you can take a picture or I can send this to you. I think I mentioned in one of the previous class. So Lord Krishna's son was Pradyumna. Pradyumna's son is Aniruddha, and Aniruddha's son is Janmeja. Yeah, no, Vajranabh. So Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Vajranabh. And Parīkṣit Maharaj's son was Janmeja. Yeah. So after Parīkṣit Maharaj passed away, his son was appointed king of the whole universe. So his son became the king of the whole universe at that time, whose name was Janmeja. And Vajranabh, who is Lord Krishna's great grandson, he became king of Mathura. Now Vajranabh, he was missing, and he wanted to see how his great grandfather looked, how Lord Krishna looked. And then it is said that he made those prayers, and then Vishwakarma came. And Vishwakarma came, and then, actually there are different versions. I don't want to confuse. In some version, it is said that Vajranabh, he himself took a dough and he actually created those deities, by dough or by mud. Then they say he visualized, and then in one version it says that the Vishwakarma came and he was asked to carve 3 deities of Krishna from a stone. Now, as they were thinking that how Krishna looked to carve the deities, so then they requested Mother Uttara. Because Mother Uttara had seen Krishna in person. Everyone else had gone. And so then at that time, Vajranabh had requested. So he requested that, please Mother Uttara, help me. Yeah. So then Janmeja Maharaj Janmeja Maharaj, who is son of Parīkṣit Maharaj, and Parīkṣit Maharaj, who is son of Mother Uttara. Yeah. So Janmeja and Vajranabh, they got together and they requested Mother Uttara to please guide them. And then it is said that when, they all got together, and then Mother Uttara gave some, points, and from her remembrance how Lord Krishna looked. And then Vishwakarma, he carved these deities. So it is said that when she looked at Shri, now on the left hand you see Shri Radha Madan Mohanji. When she looked at Radha Madan Mohan, she said, their feet looks exactly like Lord Krishna's feet. Yeah? Then when they looked at Shri Radha Govindev, so she said, Radha Govindev's chest, or Shri Govindev's chest looked exactly how Krishna's chest was. And then when Gopinathji came, Shri Radha Gopinath, and then she said that Shri Gopinath looks exactly, his face looks exactly like Lord Krishna's face. So that's the significance of these 3 deities, Prabhuji Mataji. And in our Gaudiya Vaishnava, congregation, people, these are our lives, these are our life and soul, these three deities. Now they were in Vrindavan, but then when Aurangzeb became the king, Muslim king, then they had to move the deities. Now all of them, they are in Rajasthan. Shri Radha Govindev is in Jaipur, Shri Radha Gopinath ji is also in Jaipur, and Shri Radha Madan Mohan, they are in Karoli, which is also in Rajasthan. So yeah, so Mother Uttara's, this is the greatest, you can say, gift for all of us. So yeah, so please, if you want to, take the pictures, or I can send you afterwards. But yeah, so I just thought I would share this with you. So Mother Uttara helped. Now, as Lord Krishna was again got back onto the chariot after saving Parīkṣit Maharaj, he got back onto the chariot, and now suddenly Mother Kuntī, she runs towards the chariot, and she started offering her heartfelt prayers to Lord Shri Krishna. And as she was offering the prayers, Acharya say that Lord Krishna got, suddenly he got bit of a shock, because he would go, and when Lord Krishna would come, he will pay his obeisances to Mother Kuntī. He will go and touch her feet, and she will bless him. She will bless Lord Krishna, Chiranjeevi Bhav, Ayushman Bhav. But now suddenly, as Mother Kuntī ran towards the chariot and she started offering the prayers, now Lord Krishna, he mildly smiled. So let's go through these prayers, Prabhuji Mataji. These are called Mother Kunti's Udgar. Udgar as in her heart just flowing, flowing out of love. And in every sentence, every word she's speaking, she's showing her complete reliance on Krishna. She's recalling how Lord Krishna saved us. Yeah, so she's offering these prayers. So let's just go through these prayers. So they start from verse number 18, and then they go up to verse number 43. Yeah, so we'll just go through them. I'm not sharing my screen, but if you want to have your phone or your book with you, you can refer to them. But yeah, so I'll just recite and we will go through these prayers. So the very first slok, as Lord Krishna is sitting on the chariot, Mother Kunti just goes up to him and starts saying, Namaste Purusham Tvadyam Ishwaram Prakate Param Alakshay Sarvabhutana Antarbahir Avasthitam Maya Javadika Channam Agna Abdhokshajam Avyayam Nalakshya Se Mudha Drisha Nato Natya Dharo Yatha Tatha Paramhansana Muninam Amal Atmanam Bhakti Yoga Vidhanartham Katham Pashyam Hi Istriya. So first three slok, Mother Kunti is talking about how to know Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. Yeah. So in the very first slok, she says, Namaste Purusham Tvadyam. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, Purush, you are the original Purush. Yeah. Adyam, you are the first. How Brahmaji is saying, Adyam Purana Purusham Navayogam Cha Govindamadi Purusham Tam. He is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the Adi Purush. He is the first. Yeah, from him everything emanates. Namaste Purusham Tvadyam. Yeah, and then she says, Ishware, Ishwaram Prakritehe Param. And as she's saying Ishwaram, then as if Lord Krishna asked her, Bhua, or my dear auntie, why are you saying I am the Ishwar? There are so many Ishwars. Indra is also an Ishwar, he's a controller. Brahmaji is a controller. Yeah. And there are so many other demigods, they are also controller, Ishwar. Mother Kunti says, no. You are the main Ishwar. Yeah. They are Prakriti. Their control is only within this material world, at the Prakriti level. But you are supreme, you are Param, you are beyond. So you are Ishwaram, Prakriti, you are beyond this Prakriti. Rather, Prakriti works under you. Yeah, you are that Supreme Lord. Yeah, and then she says, Alakshayam Sarvabhutana. Then Lord Krishna says, if I'm Ishwar, then why are you saying I am Alakshyam? Alakshyam is, she's saying nobody can see you. You know, pashan api na pashyanti. Yeah. So that means something you see, but you still don't see. Yeah. You know how Lord Krishna was walking on the planet, the Duryodhans, Kaurav, they did not recognize Shishupal. He would abuse Krishna. So pashan api na pashyanti. So that's what Mother Kunti is referring to. Lord Krishna says, Auntie, my dear Auntie Bua, I'm here. All people can see me. Why are you saying you can't see me? She says, no. Alakshayam sarvabhutana. And then Lord Krishna, as if asking her, if I'm alakshay, what do you mean? Am I like a super soul, Brahma Jyoti? You know, am I invisible? Yeah. Who am I? Am I sitting like a Paramatma in everybody's heart? You know, if you saying, she says, no. You are inside, you are as well as outside. Antar Bahir Avastitam. You are Paramatma, you are super soul, you are everywhere. You are Vibhu, you are pervading, you are all pervading. You are everywhere. Yeah. And I just saw that you are everywhere. It was you who just went into Uttara's womb, you know, who saved our dynasty. So my dear Lord, you are Antar Bahir Avastitam. You are everywhere. Yeah, but no one can see. Now, as if Lord Krishna asked her, Bua, why are you saying nobody can see me? Then Mother Kunti says, Maya Javnika Channam. Yeah, because Maya has covered. Yeah, Maya has covered. Then Lord Krishna says, Maya has covered. What do you mean? Then our Acharya says, Mother Kunti is saying, Maya hasn't covered Krishna. Maya has covered our vision. And why our visions are covered? Because we are Agna. We are agyan because of ignorance. Our vision is covered. It is like if the clouds come and the clouds cover the sun, right? But sun is still there. Yeah. So it is just a momentary thing that the clouds have come. So similarly, she is saying Maya, that Maya has covered the vision of these people. I can see you are the Supreme Lord, but they cannot see you are the Supreme Lord. So they have covered their vision. Yeah. So so she's saying that their vision is covered. They cannot see you, but you are everywhere. Yeah. Maya Javnika Channam. Yeah. Agna Adhokshajam Avya. You are Adhokshaj. You cannot be seen by these material eyes. Yeah. And we discuss in our first session that what is Adhokshaj. Adhokshaj means who is beyond our material eyes. We cannot see. Yeah. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. Brahmaji is saying we can see the Lord with the eyes, yeah, tainted with the love. Prema Bhakti. We can only see that. So she says that Maya Javnika Channam Agna Adhokshajam Avyayam Na Lakshase Mudhadrisha. Yeah, because the Mudhas, their vision is blocked. And their vision is blocked because of the Maya. Yeah? So they cannot see you, my dear Lord. And then she's giving an example also. She's saying, Nato Natya Dharuyat. How in a drama, you know, in a play, an actor is wearing certain garments, right? And for some people, you see some people, we start crying. They get so much attached with the actor, you know, and who's performing the act. Or in some cases, they don't understand. For example, if somebody is teaching Bharatanatyam dance, yeah, and if you don't understand the dance, then for you, it does not make any sense. They have done so much hard work and they're performing these activities, but it is our vision. So that is existing. So that's Mother Kunti is saying that, my dear Lord, they cannot see you. And then she says, Tatha Param Hansanam Muninam Amal Atmanam. Yeah, and she says that, yes, my dear Lord, only the Paramhansas can see you. Yeah, Paramhansanam and Muninam, and the Munis who are constantly glorifying you, who are constantly chanting your holy names. Amal Atmanam. Yeah, who has no mal, yeah, amal, like, you know, who are purified. Right? You come for them only. They can only know you. Tatha param hansanam muninam amal atmanam bhakti yoga vidhanartha. You come to teach them the bhakti yoga. Yeah. Katham pashyam hi striya. I am a woman. My dear Lord, how can I understand? Yeah. I cannot understand you. I'm not qualified to understand you. Yeah. And Srila Prabhupada in the purport says that this is the surrender. This is the ultimate surrender. Yeah. A devotee who knowing everything, but still they don't claim that they know. And Prabhupada says that the Matajis, the Istri, they are actually best qualified to in terms of realize the God, because they don't have these their attitude, their mentality. Like, very often you see male, they like to challenge the situation. They like to question, why do you think, why is that? But Matajis, Prabhupada says, they have such a pure heart, they just surrender. They always have this serving attitude, they surrender and they accept. But this is the Mahanata of Kunti Devi. Yeah, Mother Kunti, she has just told that Antar Bahir Avasthitam. You are Ishwaram, you are Prakrite Param, right? And you are Adi, everything emanates from you. But then by the time she goes to third verse, she's already claiming that I don't know, my dear Lord. It is very difficult for us to know. So these are the first three verses that she is saying. Then Kunti Maharani, then in the next shlokas, she appreciates her great fortune. Let me share my screen again. Then she starts appreciating her great fortune of knowing Shri Krishna, of being associated with Krishna. So in the first three verses, she is spoken about to know Shri Krishna. And then she goes on to appreciate her great fortune. Yeah. So in the first verse, the verse that we very often recite, Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah Namah Pankaj Nabhaya Namah Pankaj Maline Namah Pankaj Netraya Namaste Pankaj Angrihi. So she's saying that, my dear Lord, Krishnaya Vasudevaya, you are Krishna and you are son of Vasudev, so you are also called Vasudev. Yeah. So it is the great fortune of Vasudev that you are born as his son. Yeah. And then he says, Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya. So Vasudev's was great fortune because you have appeared as his son. Devaki's great fortune because you were born through her womb, right? So this is her greatest fortune. Yeah. Devaki Nandanaya. Then Nanda Gopa Kumaraya. Yeah. Nanda Gop, who is Nanda Maharaj. Yeah. Even though they are the parents, but Nanda Maharaj had the greatest fortune because he was able to enjoy your childhood pastimes. Yeah. Vasudevji and Devaki, they were in the prison house. They could not enjoy your childhood pastimes, but Nanda Maharaj, he is so great fortune that he was able to enjoy your childhood pastimes. And then even more fortunate than them is other gopis and gopas of Vrindavan, because they were able to play with you. They were able to share their meals with you. They were able to tease you to the extent that some of the gopas, they were able to ride on Krishna's back. So they are the greatest fortune. And then she says, Govindaya Namo, because you are giving pleasure to the cows. So those cows are even more fortune, whom you were tending. You were taking them to the forest. Yeah. And then she goes on to describe the beauty of Lord Krishna. Then she says, Namah Pankaj Nabhaya. Yeah. My dear Lord, I pay my obeisances. So now you just see she's again and again paying the obeisances. Namah Pankaj Nabhaya, Namah Pankaj Netraya. Yeah. And then in the previous verse, she's already said, Krishnaya Vasudevaya, Devaki Nandanaya, Nanda Gopa Kumaraya, Govindaya, Namo Nama. So that Nama goes with every word. Nama Krishnaya, Nama Vasudevaya, Nama Devaki Nandanaya, Nama Nanda Gopa Kumaraya. So she's praying. So please see, with such a surrender, such a loving mood, Mother Kunti is now offering prayers again and again. So that is why they are called Udgar, from her heart, just free flowing, Dharavahik. And as we say, Dharavahik prayers. So she just started offering. And then she says, Namah Pankaj Nabhaya, because Nabhi is the navel. Yeah, because from your Nabhi, so it's lotus navel, from your Nabhi, my dear Lord, because from the Nabhi, it is the birthplace of Brahmaji. Yeah, lotus navel, that's where Brahmaji came from. So I pay my obeisances to your Nabhi, to the lotus navel, from where Brahmaji came. Then he says, then she says, Namah Pankaj Maline, because you are wearing a garland of lotus flowers. So I pay my obeisances to that garland, and I'm paying my obeisances to you who is wearing that beautiful garland. So that beautiful vision of Lord Shri Krishna. And then she says, Namah Pankaj Netraya. Yeah, I'm paying my obeisances to that beautiful vision of Krishna, or to you, who has lotus eyed. Yeah, you are so beautiful. And then finally she says, Namah Pankaj Angrihe. I bow down, or I pay my obeisances to your lotus feet. So here our Acharya says, normally when we start offering our prayers, Prabhuji Mataji, or when you go to temple, we first look at the feet of the Lord, and then we slowly take our vision up. We start from the feet. That's what Naraji had told Dhruv Maharaj also, that this is how you meditate upon the Lord. So if you are meditating, and it is very important when we are chanting, we should try to form a vision, right? Ek Bhagwan ka roop, we should form a roop in our mind, and we should concentrate on that. That is how again and again we bring our mind, yeah, because mind is the manah manushyanam karanam moksha bandhaya. Yes, because mind is the reason for us, for the reason for our liberation and for the bondage. So that's how we can bring. So Mother Kunti is paying her obeisances to that beautiful vision, and she, not to embarrass Lord Shri Krishna, Acharya says, she started from his navel, and then she went up, and then she went up, and then she came to feet anyway in the last. Namaste Pankaj Angri. Yeah, and now she's appreciating her great fortune. Now she goes on to say that, my dear Lord, so far she has said that Vasudev is fortune, is great fortune. You are born as his son. Devaki is greatest fortune. You are born from, you appeared from a womb. Nanda Maharaj has great fortune. But then she says, I have the greatest fortune. Yeah, I have the greatest fortune. And then she explains why. Yatha rishi ke shakhale na devaki कंसेन रुद्धाति चिरं शुचार्पिता विमोचिताहं च सहात्मजा विभो त्वय्येव नाथे न मुहुर्विपद्गणा विशान महाग्ने पुरुषाद दर्शना असत् सभाया वनवास कृच्छ्रित मृढे ने महारथास्त्रतो द्रोणीय अस्त्र चाश्म हरेभिरक्षिता. So Mata Kunti is saying that, my dear Lord, Devaki, Yatha Rishikesh Khalena Devaki. Khal is called villain. Villain is Kans, who is cruel, who is very bad mentality. So she is saying Kans had put Mother Devaki into the prison. Yatha Rishikesh Khalena Devaki, Kansen, that Kans had put her into the prison, Shucharpita. Yeah. Ati Chiren, for a long time, Mother Devaki was in the prison house. And while she was in the prison, her sons were killed. And you appeared, and then you went and lived in Vrindavan, in Gokul. But they were still in the prison. And her sons were killed. Whereas, my dear Lord, for me, this is my great fortune, that Vimochitaham cha sahatmaja vipo. My dear Lord, you always protected me. You did not let my sons suffer at all. There were so many attempts to kill my sons, but you were always there to protect us. So you always protected me. Tvayev nathena muhur vipadgana. My dear Lord, as we discussed the verse, Prabhupada says, Sanath and Anath. Anath means who are totally independent, who have no shelter. But she's saying, Tvayev nathena. She says, my dear Lord, I had lost my husband. I had no one was giving us the shelter. When we came back to Hastinapur, my own kinsmen, they were telling us to leave, right? They were not giving us any place to stay there. Yeah. So I have suffered so much. But my dear Lord, you have always protected my children. Protected me and my sons, whereas your own mother was in the prison. So I have the greatest fortune. And then she recalls some of the problems, some of the difficult situations that Lord Krishna came to protect her. And she says, Vishan Mahagne. Vishan, it's you know how Bhim was poisoned. Bhim was given poison by Duryodhana. Yeah. And then he was thrown into the river. And then into the river as he went down and down. And then it says he went into the Nagalok. And where the king was, that king's one of his ministers, he was related to Mother Kunti. And when Bhim went there, they asked who you are. And then Bhim told, I am Bhim and I'm son of Kunti and Pandu. And then straight away that king of Nags, the king of serpents, he said, oh, offer him a nice place. And then they gave Bhim some drink. They says when Bhim was born, he had the power of, so many elephants. And then when he drank that, I think one drink gave him energy equivalent to some number of elephants, 1,000 elephants or something like that. And then Bhim drank so many glasses of the drink, and Bhim came back with even stronger. So Mother Kunti recalls how they tried to kill Bhim. So she says, Vishan, vish, poison, Maha Agne, because when they were put into the Lakshagre house, where they burned the house, and she says, my dear Lord, you protected. Now Pandavas can say, Mother, it was us who were running around. It was us who were struggling. It was us who Mother Kunti got tired, and then Bhim carried his mother on his shoulders. But Mother Kunti is giving all the credit to Lord Krishna. She says, you saved us from that poison. You saved us from that Agni. Purushad Adarshanat. When they were in the forest, the Hidimba, there was that demoness that they met. They were man-eaters. So she said, you save us from those man-eaters, my dear Lord. Asat Sabhaya, that inauspicious Asat Sabha, in that assembly, Dhritarashtra assembly, she recalls that, my dear Lord, you saved us. When they were trying to disrobe Draupadi, you came and you saved us. And then she says, Asat Sabhaya Vanvas Krichrita. When we were in the forest, there were so many troubles coming. Dhritarashtra and his son, Duryodhana and his friends, they would not let us settle down. They were always sending problem after problem. Remember that past time when Duryodhana sent Durvasa Rishi to go and become guest of Yudhishthira Maharaj, and he went there with his 1,000 of disciples, and there was no food left. By the time Draupadi had eaten, and then Krishna came there and he ate one rice from that cooking pot, and then that filled the belly of all the rishis. So she's remembering that Vanvas Krichita. And then he says, Mridhe nek Maharathi. At many times, in the war, in the Mahabharat war, so many Maharathis, they were attacking Pandavas. And in Mahabharat war, the real war was to kill Arjun. Everyone wanted to kill Arjun. They knew that if they kill Arjun, Arjun's name was Vijay. Vijay means victory. So everybody wanted to kill Arjun. Everybody was devising plan to kill Arjun. But not a single moment anything could touch Arjun. Only once it is said that once Karna was shooting an arrow, and that arrow was he aimed that arrow to hit neck of Arjun. And as Karna was getting ready to shoot that arrow, it is said Lord Krishna knew that this arrow is going to hit Arjun. Lord Krishna was the charioteer, and he stopped the chariot like putting a brake on the car. As he put the brake, the horses kneeled, and the horses kneeled, and that arrow came and it hit Arjun's helmet, and that's all. So she recalled, yeah, mridhe mridhe nek maharathastra. So many maharathis, they had their weapons, my dear Lord, you save them. And then she says, Droni astras. Just now, my dear Lord, I have seen Dronacharya's son. He just shot Brahmastra on all of us, on all the Pandavas, my sons, and also on Uttara. Droni astras chasma abhirakshita. Yeah, you have protected us, or you abhirakshita means you have completely protected us. So you have protected us, my dear Lord. Yeah, so she recalls that I am so great fortune, that my greatest fortune, that you have protected us. And then Lord Krishna, it says that as if Lord Krishna is asking that, my dear mother, what else can I do? Or my dear Bua, what else can I do? Then Kunti Maharani says, Vipadah santu ta shashva tatra tatra jagat guru bhavato darshanam yatsya apuna bhav darshanam. Then she prays that, my dear Lord, Vipadah santu ta shashva. All these calamities, may all these calamities come again and again. Yes. When all these calamities come again and again, Shashwat Tatra Tatra Jagat Guru, O Guru of the universe, yeah, O Jagat Guru, my dear Krishna, what will happen? Bhavato Darshanam Yatsya, because we will get your darshan. Yeah, as those same problems will come again and again, then every time, my dear Lord, because we will get to have your darshan. And when we have your darshan, darshano Bhavato darshanam yat syat apunar. Apunar means not again. We will not have to take the darshan again of apunar bhav darshan. This bhav sagar, as I told you, the same river, there are two rivers flowing in the parallel directions. One is destruction and one is creation. So she is saying, because if we get your darshan, my dear Lord, then we will not have to take the darshan of this bhav sagar, or we will not have to come back again into this bhav sagar. So my fortune, I'm the greatest fortune, even though you are, Devki, Vasudev, they had the fortune. But I see, despite all these problems, she's saying, I have the greatest fortune because you still protected us. And may that problems come again and again, so that every time these problems come, we will have your darshan. Yeah. And then in the next set of prayers, then as if she asked, then the point is, then somebody might say, or the people have been saying, that to get mercy of Lord Shri Krishna, or some people actually used to say that Lord Krishna, he's partial to Pandavas. He has favored the Pandavas. He's unduly favoring them. He promised not to pick up a weapon, but he still picked up a weapon. Yeah. So to that, now Kunti Maharani, in the other set of prayers, now she says, what is the qualification? So now she is asked that, may that same problem come again and again, so that we will get your darshan. Yeah. And then she says that, Namo Akinchan Vittaya. Yeah. No, before that she says that now these my sons, they are going to become king. Yeah, and they will get these opulence. So she says, Janma Aishwarya Shruti Shribhir Ed Manam Madhav Man. Yeah, Naiva Arhati Abudatim Vai Tvam Akinchan Gocharam. Nama Akinchan Vittaya Nivritta Gun Vrittaye. Yeah, Atma Ramaya Shantaya Kevalya Patiye Nam. Yeah, Manne Tvam Ishanam Anadim. Yeah, Adim Vibhu. Yeah. So she says that, my dear Lord, that first of all, she says that Janam Aishwarya Shruti Shri. Yeah, if we are born in and very important these points, Prabhuji Mataji. So Janam, if you are born in a high class family, if you are born in an opulent family, Janam, if your birth is in a family, sometimes we have the pride of that I am born in that family. Yeah, so that becomes a reason of us not getting darshan. Yeah. Aishwarya, we have a lot of opulence. Then also it reduces our chances of surrendering to the Supreme Lord, because then there is that pride there. Yeah. Shruti, knowledge. If we have too much knowledge, sometimes we have the abhiman, we have the pride, we get the pride of knowledge also. Yeah. Janm Aishwarya Shruti, Shribhir. If you have a lot of Lakshmi, if you have beauty, right? Sometimes people who are beautiful, who are good looking, they also get bewildered because people come and start saying, oh, you are so beautiful, you are so good looking. And then what happens is, instead of focusing at Supreme Lord Krishna, they start focusing on themselves. They are going to temple or they are going to these places. They are waiting for people to come and tell them, oh, you are so beautiful, you are so good looking. Whereas they have come to take the darshan of the Supreme Lord. Yeah. So Mata Kunti is saying that these things, aid manam madhapuman. Yeah, my dear Lord, these can bring pride into the living entities. Yeah. And when the pride comes, then naiva arhati abhidhatum vai. Then abhidhatum as in realize, is total realize. When you are, sometimes you are rich and you are trying to surrender, you are trying to pray, but at the same time, if somebody is really not so rich, somebody who is desperate, right? So if we are in a desperate situation, yeah, even though the mood will be different, but when we call out for the Supreme Lord, there will be a real connection. Like Ajamil, when Ajamil called Narayan, he called Narayan with a desperate, even though he did not mean to call Narayan the Supreme Lord, but he called his son Narayan. And just because Narayan came out of his mouth with a mood of desperation, Vishnu Dutas came. Yeah. Whereas if somebody is in a very rich position, sometimes, we are also hypocrites sometimes. We talk to each other and we say, Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam, Prabhuji, I am so fallen, you are humble servant, you are insignificant servant. We make all these, in our signature, we sending emails, sending messages, we start writing, you are humble servant, you are insignificant servant. But do we really mean it? That's what Mata Kunti is saying, Abhi Dhatum Vai. Abhidhatum is literally getting that thing ingrained into our minds, into my feelings. Am I really feeling? Sometimes we call each other and we say, Dandvat Prabhuji. Dandvat means, Dand means danda, a stick. Once actually, I was hearing somebody was saying that someone said to someone, like they were just meeting and they called him Dandvat, each other. And they said, oh yeah, you are actually, you are standing like a Dandvat. So you are just standing like a danda, and you said Dandavat, then that means, yeah, you're standing like danda. But the meaning is Dandavat Pranam, which means falling like a danda. Yes? Falling like a stick on the ground, completely flat. So that's what we mean. But slowly, we just make these things as a ritual. So that's where Kunti Maharani is saying that, my dear Lord, when we have Janm Aishwarya Shruti Shribhar, these Aishwarya, these opulences, they become hindrance. They become hindrance because they can give rise to the pride. And when that pride comes, then we might not be able to remember you. We might forget you. See, so she's worried for her children that now they become king. They're going to get this kingdom. Right? So far we've been struggling. So we called for Krishna. We had total reliance on him. So she's just worried that maybe now, after getting this opulence, we might get busy. So many Sugriv was so desperate. When Lord Ram gave him the kingdom, he forgot his promise to Lord Ram, and he got into the material enjoyment. He completely forgot. Yeah. So that is the thing. So that is the worry. And that's a very, very important, thing, Prabhuji Mataji, to watch out for, that these opulences, they become a reason for our downfall many a time. So that is why she's praying no. And then, as if Krishna is asking, then mother, or my dear auntie, how can people get me? What are you saying? What is the how they can get my association? And then she says, Tvam akinchan gochara. My dear Lord, you can only be attained by people who have nothing. Akinchan. Kinchan means something. Akinchan means nothing. Yeah. Janma Aishwarya Shruti Shrivir Edmana Madhapuman Naiva Arhati Abhidhatum Vai Tvam Akinchan Gochar. You can only be attained by people who have nothing. And then in the next slok, she says, Namo Akinchan Vittaya. Right? People who have nothing, you are actually their wealth. Yeah. You can be attained by people who have nothing, but then now she goes on to say that you are the real wealth of people who have nothing. Yeah, and I bow down to you. Namo akinchan vittaya nivritti gunavrittaye. Yeah, who have transcended these these various modes, who are not impacted by these modes, or you are beyond these modes. Both ways. Lord Krishna is obviously above, beyond all these modes, but these people who have gone beyond these modes, who have nothing, you are their real wealth. Yeah, and then Atma Ramaya. Atma Rai, they are self-realized. You know how we discussed last week, Shukdev Goswami, he was an Atma Ram. Shantai, who are peaceful. Yeah, Kevalya Patyenam. Kevalya means Keval. So people who have Ananya Bhakti to you, no one else, unalloyed devotional service to you, only you. Yeah, I bow down to you. Kevalya Patyenam, because you can get there. And then she answers, because people have been saying that you have been impartial. She says, no. Manne tvam kalam ishanam. Yeah. In my opinion, you are the supreme kal. You are the supreme controller. Yeah. Manne tvam kal ishanam. Samam charantam sarvatro. Bhutanam yanmitha kali. Yeah. You are equal to everyone. Yeah. You are equal to everyone, my dear Lord. It is just people think that you are different, right? But you are not different. You are equal to everyone. Right? Everyone. And then she says, Yan Mitha. Yeah, because it is the social intercourse. Because of the social intercourse, people get into these various situations. Bhuta Nam Yan Mitha Kali. Yeah? Because of social intercourse, people do different things. You know how people often say, oh, Lord has been very merciful to you. He is giving you so much mercy. He has given you so much opulence, right? We all experience these feelings. But that is because of our own karmas. Mother Kunti is saying, Samam Charantam Sarvatra. My Lord, you are equal. You are appearing, you are present equally everywhere, right? But because of social intercourse, because people have got this pride because of their opulences, Janma Aishwarya Shruti, yeah, they are not able to get your association. They are not able to get your mercy, and they start to think that you are partial. Yeah. And then she goes on to say that, my dear Lord, but your activities, your pastimes are beyond anybody's comprehension. Nobody can understand what activities are you going to do. Yeah. Na ved kaschet bhagavans chikirshitam. So she says, oh my dear Lord, your ved as in no, right? Na as in no one can know your chikirshitam, your activities. Yeah. Tame, yeah, your activities, nobody can know. Yeah. And because you are performing these activities like a normal human being, what happens is nirnam vidambanam. It is bewildering for the living entities. Yeah. Because of that, people are bewildered. And she also says, na yasya kaschid daitosti karhichit. Yeah. Na yasya kaschid. You never favor anyone. You are equal to everyone, right? But because of your actions, you will find so many contradictions in Lord Krishna's behavior, right? I mean, if you read the pastimes, people will you find so many contradictions. Sometimes he is being merciful to someone for no reason. Sometimes you will see he is not being so merciful to somebody you see who is doing so much austerity, and then you question. I mean, there was this example. There was one person who was hanging into the well by tying his leg with a chain, and he was hanging upside down. And then people were asking, why are you hanging upside down? And he's saying, I'm hanging upside down because whenever I fall, so that I can get a vision of Krishna, and this is how I'm hanging inside the well. And then the news came around, and there was another person who also came, and he thought, let me also hang myself up and down if this is how I can get darshan of Krishna. And he tied his leg with a rope. He tied his leg with a rope, and it is said that after a few days he fell. He was hanging upside down, and as he was falling down, Lord Krishna appeared, and he uplifted him, and then he uplifted him out of the well. And then people were questioning, what is this? This man has been hanging down for so many days, and this person just came two days ago, and Lord Krishna has saved him, not him. And then they found out that this person who's been hanging for a long time, he was hanging himself with a chain. So he still had that little fear. Yeah. Whereas this other person, he just hanged himself with a rope. Rope is going to break, in a few days. So that's what happened. The rope broke and Krishna came and protected. Whereas this person, he did not have complete surrender. Yeah. So, but to an outsider, people will say this is injustice. Similarly, when Arjun and Duryodhana, they went to ask for the army. Then how people say Krishna was partial? No, Krishna was not partial. Duryodhana wanted army, he got army. Arjun wanted Krishna, he got Krishna as his charioteer. Yeah. Duryodhana was praying. Yes, there was a little bit of conversation, if you remember. Yeah. Duryodhana said, I came first. Krishna said, but I saw Arjun first. So Krishna gave first option to Arjun to ask for what help he wanted. Yeah. And there Duryodhana was sort of complaining that I came first, but he was sitting near his head. But when Krishna woke up, he's always awake, he was just acting. That's what Nirnam Vidambana. Yeah. People get bewildered. But Krishna opened his eyes, he saw Arjun first. So he still insisted Arjun came first, let him ask for a boon first. Or let him ask for the help first. And Arjun was given a first chance, as Arjun said that, and then Krishna had already told, on one hand, my Narayani Sena, on one hand, me without any weapons. Arjun said, my dear Krishna, we want you. And Duryodhana was so happy in his heart. He said, thank you, my dear Lord. And he straight away stood up and he walked away and he said, okay, Dwarkadhish, please order your Senapati to send the army. He didn't even stay for a minute. And in his heart, he was so happy. And he was praying, we're not getting your association, this and that. But then he was just pretending. Yeah. So Lord's pastime are beyond anyone's comprehension. So that's what Mother Kunti is saying. Na yasya kaschid daitosti karhichid. Yeah. And then she says that dveshascha yasmin vishma matirnana. Dveshascha. But people who are envious. My dear Lord, people who are envious, they have different mati. They think or they do separation. They because of their envious nature, matir nirnam. Yeah. So their mentality is vishma. Yeah. So their vision is blurred, you can say, because of their envious nature. So and they're bewildered. Yeah. So they cannot see you. And then she says, Janma karma cha vishwa atman ajasya akartur atmana. Yeah. Tiryag nirshushu yadasu tad atyant vidam. Now she herself is saying that, my dear Lord, Janma karma cha vishwa atman. You are the soul of the universe. Your appearance and your karmas, they are literally bewildering. Appearance of whose? Ajasya. Ajasya, who is unborn. Unborn's Jan, birth of an unborn, doesn't tell you. Yeah. Karma, a kartur, who doesn't do any karma, but he's doing a karma. Vishwa Atman, who is the soul of the universe, he is gotten into a body, yeah, into a human form. Yeah. And then she said, not just the human form. And then she recalls Tiryag, as in beast, animal. Rishishu, Nra, as in human. Rishi, Nar Narayan Rishi. Yadasu, in the water. You take that Matsya avatar, fish incarnation. Tad Atyant Vidamban. That is so bewildering. You know how Gajendra, when he is praying, so Gajendra is saying, when he is praying to the Lord, Gajendra says, Savai na deva surmarte tirya na stri na shando na puman na jantu nayam guna karm na san na chasan nished ashesho jayatad ashesha. Yeah. So he's saying that, my dear Lord, you survey na deva, you are not demigod. Yeah. You are not asur. You are not a demon. Navai na deva asur. Na marte. We are marte. We are going to die, right? You are subjected to death. You are not that. Then Tiryag, you are not a beast. Na stri, you are not a woman. Na shando, you are not a eunuch. Right? Na puman, you are not a normal human being. Na jantu, you are not an animal. Right? And then she says, na guna, you are not affected by the gunas. Na karm, you don't perform any karm. Na san, na chasan, you are not auspicious, you are not inauspiciousness. Yeah. Nished ashesho jayatad ashesha. So she says, you are not this, you are not this, you are not this. And then whatever is left after negating all of this, that Supreme Lord, please come and protect you. So that's what Gajendra is praying to Supreme Lord. So that's what Mother Kunti is saying. Tad atyant vidambanam. Janma karma cha vish atman. Yeah. Ajasya akartur atmana. Tiriyad nishushu yadasu tad atyant vidambanam. And then not just that, then she goes on to the next point and she says, yes, all of this is there. But then she recalls the Damodar Leela. Gopya dade tvai kritagasi dam tava yate dashashru kalilanjana sampramaksham vaktram niniya bhaya bhavanaya sthitasya samam vimohayati bhirapiyat vibheti. She recalls that Gopya dade tvai kritagasi dam tava. My dear Lord, when Gopi, now she is remembering Yashoda Mata. She did not, when she was recalling the great fortune of Devki, Nanda Maharaj, Vasudev, other gopis, she did not mention Yashoda Mother there. But Acharya says now she is recalling that great fortune of Yashoda Mata. Right? We glorified that Leela for the whole month of Kartik. So she's recalling, she's that Gopya dade tvai kritagasi dam tavat. After you broke the pot of yogurt, my dear Lord, Mother Yashoda, she was running after you with a rope. Yeah, dam tavat. So she was running after you. She was running to catch you or to tie you with the rope. And I saw that. Yeah, and I saw that. Let me share this. Yeah, this is the vision. Yeah, so she's recalling that vision. Yeah, Gopya dade tvai kritagasi dam tavat. So Mother Yashoda is binding you with the rope. Yeah, and then yate dasha. In that situation, dasha ashru, you are crying. And kalila anjana, the anjan, in the eyes, Mother Yashoda, when she would bathe Krishna, then she will put that black thing in his eyes. And she says, now Mother Kunti is saying, you are crying, and because you are crying, you are rubbing your eyes with your both the hands. Yeah, you are crying, and yate dashashru kalil anjana sambrahmaksham. So that black thing had spread on your face. Yeah, and you are so scared. Vaktram niniye. Vaktram as in face and niniyam as in down. So you had your face down. Yeah, bhaya bhavanaya. You are so scared. Yeah, you are so scared. As we say, what is that second verse in Namadaraskam? Rudantam muhur netram yugmam mrijantam. Yeah, rudantam, he was crying. Muhur, again and again. Netram yugmam mrijantam, as in his both the eyes. Yeah, and he was rubbing both the eyes. Rudantam muhur netram yugmam mrijantam. Yeah, karam bhoja yugmena satank netram. Yeah, muhu swasa kampa trirekhank kantha sthita grevam damodaram bhakti bhakti. If you recall that, we sing that. Yeah, it's exactly same. So rudantam muhur netram, you were crying. Muhur, again, more, again and again, and netram with the both eyes. Yeah, rudantam muhur netram yugmam means two. Yeah, both the eyes, you were crying and you were rubbing the eyes with your hands. Yeah, muhu swasa kampa trirekhanka kanta. You were crying, and then you were taking heavy breaths. Muhu swas, from the mouth. When somebody is crying, you're crying, and then you were taking heavy breaths. And trirekhanka kanta, on your throat, there were those three rekha, three you can say three rows or lines. When you bend your knees. So when the chubby children, you see, So there were 3 lines. So she's recalling that, Mother Kunti. Yeah. And you are wearing Sthita Gravam. You are wearing a jewel. Yeah. Sthita Gravam Bhakti Baddham. Because of devotion, you agreed to be tied up. That is in the Damodar Ashtam, sorry. But here Mother Kunti is recalling that you had your face down and you were crying and you were scared. But Sa Mam Vimohayati, that bewilders me. That vision bewilders me because Bhirapi Yad Viveti. Because even the fear personified is feared from you, but you are so feared, my dear Lord. That's what is bewildering to me as well. Yeah. So she's recalling that moment. Yeah. So I think we were on. Yeah. So Lord's pastimes are beyond anyone's comprehension. So she's saying, my dear Lord, it is very difficult to comprehend, to understand your pastimes. Then in the next set of prayers, then she talks about the purpose of Supreme Lord's appearance. And then she's saying that, my dear Lord, people say, Kechid ahur ajam jatam. Kechid ahur ajam jatam punya shlokasya kirtaye. Yeah. Yado priyasya anvaye. Yeah. So she is saying, Kechid ahur. Some people say that, my dear Lord, you have appeared or you have come to do what? Punya shlokasya kirtaye. To spread the glories or to get your devotees to be glorified. Punya shlokasya kirte, by become son of Vasudev. Now Vasudev has been glorified as father of Lord Krishna. Yeah. The Gopas and Gopas, gopis. I tell you this funny pastime, we'll discuss it in 10th canto. But when Brahmaji was bewildered, and Brahmaji then when he took away the calves and the cowherd boys, then he realized his mistake. He's coming, and then he came and he comes and he asks for forgiveness from Krishna. And Krishna is sitting there. And Krishna this time allowed the Gopas to be able to see what is happening. So they were able to see. Now they were getting ready for their lunch. And Brahmaji comes. Krishna is sitting there with the morsel in his hand. Brahmaji is coming and he started paying his obeisances. And then other Gopas, they are joking with each other. They are saying to each other, what is this man? He has 4 heads, but he doesn't have any brain. He has 4 heads, he doesn't have any brain. Other friend asked, why? Why he is bowing down to Krishna? He thinks he's God. He's not God. 4 head, no brain. Why is he going down to him? Why does he think he's God? Yeah. So that's the point. But all of these Krishna's friends, Krishna's parents, Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Mata, Vasudev, Devaki, Arjun, yeah, he came to spread their glories. He was really keen to make Yudhishthira Maharaj the king. It is said in the beginning of this chapter, Sud Goswami is saying, Lord Krishna helped Yudhishthira Maharaj perform 3 Ashwamedh Yagnas, successful 3 Ashwamedh Yagnas. And Indra also came to watch that Yagna. Indra, you become Indra after performing 100 Yagnas, right? 100 successful Yagnas. But Lord Krishna helped Yudhishthira Maharaj perform 3 successful Ashwamedh Yagnas. And he came and then, they were watching. So, which is all to spread the glories of his devotees. Yeah. So, Kechid ahur ajam jatam punya shlokasya kirtaye. So, Lord is called Uttam Shlok and his devotees is called Punya Shlok, who are pious. Yeah. Whose glories are described in the pious words, who perform pious activities. So she is saying, my dear Lord, people say, Kechid ahur ajam jatam punya shlokasya kirtaye yado priyasya anvaye. Or Yadu Maharaj, because Yadu Maharaj was very dear to you. Yeah? So you came to spread his glories because he was born in the Yadu dynasty, Lord Krishna. Actually, if you go back, the Kuru and Yadu, they were related. But Lord Krishna appeared in the Yadu dynasty to serve the descendants of Kuru dynasty, because it was already predicted that Yudhishthira Maharaj and they will appear in the Kuru dynasty, and Lord Krishna on purpose appeared on Yadu dynasty to serve them. Right, to serve Pandavas, to be friend with them, only to glorify them. So Kunti Maharani says that maybe that's the reason you came. Then she says, some others people say, apare vasudevasya devakyam, yeah, yachito abhagat Yeah, ajasya tasya shemaya vadhaya cha suradvisha. So she says, my dear Lord, some says because Devaki and Vasudev, they had prayed Yachito Abhagyat in their previous life. They were Sutapa and Vrishni in their previous birth. In the 10th canto, this comes. Devaki and Vasudev. They prayed and they asked for a son like Supreme Lord, and Supreme Lord promised to be appear in their as their son. So she says, some says that you appeared. So now she's recalling the reasons for his appearance. Yeah. So just maybe you can count. So she says that you have come because Vasudev and Devaki. And then she says, Ajasya Tamasya Shemaya. Also, you came to make the welfare, for the welfare of this universe, to protect this universe. Yeah. And Vadhaya cha Suradvisha. To people who are envious of demigods, you have come to kill them. Yeah. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha duskritam. Dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So she's saying, some say you have appeared for that. Then in the next verse, she's saying, some say because Atmabhu, Brahmaji, who is your son, yeah, he is your son because he is born from the lotus never. He prayed for you because this Mother Earth was burdened because of all these cruel kings, all these irreligious people. So Mother Earth was burdened like a boat gets burdened when it is in the water. It is like on the boat, when too many people get on the boat, then boat is about to sink. So similarly, Mother Earth, who is floating on the water, and the weight increase, and Mother Earth herself says that I can bear the weight of mountains, rivers, forests, but I can't bear the weight of even one irreligious person, even one sinner. That's what bothers me. So she says, because Brahmaji prayed to you to unburden, to take the burden of Mother Earth, like a boat burden into the sea, that is the reason you can. And then she says, Bhave asmin klishmana nam avidya kam karma bhi shravana samarana arhani, yeah, karishyan iti kechan. This is the real purpose now. Yeah. So she is saying, some say because bhave asmin kalishmana nam, because in this bhav sagar, yeah, in this material world, Kalishyamananam, because people are suffering. And why people are suffering? She says, because avidya, because they don't have the knowledge, ignorance. They are suffering because of ignorance. And because of ignorance, what they have? Kam, they have desires, material desires. Yeah, because they have material desires, they are performing material activities. Avidya kam karma bhi. And because they are performing these activities, that is why they are going through this cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. So you come and perform these activities, my dear Lord, so that what they can do, they can shravan, they can hear these activities. They can smaran, they can remember these activities. Arhani, they can perform the worshipful activities. Yeah, karishan iti kechana. Yeah, maybe you come to perform this. And then she says, my dear Lord, who are performing these activities, then what happens to them? Shrinvanti gayanti grinanti avekshanasa. Yeah, people who are shravan, who are hearing your activities. Yeah, now she very nicely, Mata Kunti, concludes this part, and she tells what is the effect, what happens when people are performing these activities. Shravanti, when they are hearing. Yeah, shravanti. Yeah, and then when they are gayanti, when they are singing, hearing and singing. And then grananti, grananti as in they are applying in their lives. Shrinvanti, gayanti, grananti, abhikshanasa, continuously, not break. So that is why it is important. We tell everyone, you take some service, take a small service, but it has to be a pratihartha, right? Without any break. So Mata Kunti says, they hear, they sing, and they apply in their life. And then smaranti nandanti tave hitam jana. Then they remember. Then they remember, like you sitting in your alone pastime. When you're sitting alone, then you are recalling those activities. Then nandanti. Nandanti is if some other people are performing those activities, they take pleasure in that. They are non-envious. This is called Vaikuntha mentality. If you want to go to Vaikunt, you have to have the Vaikunt mentality first, which is non-envious. If others are performing these activity, we are pleased for them also. Yeah. Nandanti. Yeah. Tave hitam jana. Tave hitam, your activities. So you come to perform these activities, my dear Lord, and people, you have come for this reason, so that they can get out of this cycle of birth and death by hearing, by singing, by applying in their lives, by remembering these, and by happily watching others, or promoting others, or motivating others to take up this process. Right, my dear Lord, you have come for them. And the people who are doing these activities, then he says, then she says that what happens to them, that achirena tavakam, yeah, pashyanti ta eva pashyantyachirena tavakam. They within no time, my dear Lord, they can see, they can get the darshan of padambujam, bhava pravaho paramam padambujam. So their bhav parvah, as I said, this side rivers, this side, their bhav parvah paramam, up paramam, their bhav parvah stops. So my dear Lord, their bhav parvah, their going and coming back, these activities stop, and achiren, without any delay, they can get darshan of your padambujam, of your lotus feet. That is the reason you come here. Yeah. And then the final section, then she is praying for the continued association, and then she tells the Supreme Lord, I don't know how I think we've gone a bit over. I will just conclude in about 10 minutes. And then she says to the Supreme Lord that, my dear Lord, that another reason, now what do you want? So she says that now that we discuss in today's verse. So she's saying that if you're going to leave us today, my dear Lord, because we have so many enemies. Now all these kings, or these kings who have died, their children, their grandchildren, they will be coming after us. We are only protected because why you are there. Then Lord Krishna says, but you have Bhim, you have Arjun, you have Yudhishthira, they can protect you. Mata Kunti says no. Kevayam nam rupa bhyam yadubhi sah pandava bhavto adarshanam yarhi rishikanam iveshatu. She says, my dear Lord, what to speak of Pandavas, even Yadavas, right? Rishikanam, without you, if you are gone, it is like a body without the senses, a body without the soul. It is a dead body. Yeah, then it does not have any value. Kevayam nama rupa bhyam. What is the value of our name and fame? If you are not there, my dear Lord, then we cannot be protected. And then she goes on to say that all this, our samrajya, yeah, this kingdom, neyam sobhishyate yat tatra yathadanim gadadhara tvad pader ankita bhati vilakshita swalakshanam vilakshita. She says, this kingdom, my dear Lord, because it is marked with your lotus feet. So I just wanted to share this with you here, Prabhuji Mataji. So she says, my dear Lord, our kingdom is now being marked by the impressions of your feet, and therefore it appears beautiful. But when you leave, it will no longer be so. Yeah. So this is in the 10th canto, Prabhuji Mataji, very nicely described. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada makes a reference to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary on this. And there's a very nice description of the marks on the lotus feet of the Lord. Once again, I will ask you to, you can take a picture, but refer to these. So that's what Mata Kunti is referring to. That, my dear Lord, because you are walking in our Tvat pader ankita bhati, because this soil is marked with your feet, because of that, swalakshanam vilakshita. It is looking so beautiful because you have walked on this land. But once you leave us, it will no longer be the same. And then there are these various descriptions of these various marks on the lotus feet of the Lord. So the Lord carries the mark of a disc which cuts down the 6 mental enemies of his devotees. The lotus flower which increases the greed for him in the minds of the bee-like devotees who meditate on his feet. The thunderbolt which smashes the mountains of his devotees' reactions to past sins. Mark of an elephant goat which brings the elephants of his devotees' mind under control. Because Gaja Buddhi, yeah, Unmattam, it's like an elephant. When an elephant gets mad, he smashes everything around. So our mind is like that. But if we focus on, concentrate on the elephant goat on the feet of Supreme Lord, as you can see it here, that means it can help us. And the mark of a barley corn you can see on the right foot, thumb, toe. So it represents all kind of enjoyable opulences. So there are so many things for us to focus on, for us to think about, Prabhuji, Mataji. When our mind is running here and there, you can remember. So there are these 19 marks. So if you want to meditate on this. What is the point on meditating on light, meditating on so many other things, even the materialistic lives. Yeah. So this is the beauty of his feet. And as you can see, the calf, he's licking Lord Krishna's feet. Yeah. So that's what Mother Kunti is recalling, that, my dear Lord, because your lotus feet are here. And then she says that we have this imam janapada swavriddhi, yeah, pakva aushadhi virudhar. We have these medicines, herbal medicines. We are getting all these medicines. Vanadri nadi udanvanto. We have these forests. We have all these mountains. We have all these rivers. We have the sea, right? All of this, why? Because he ethante. Because tva vikshitai. Because your eyes are looking at this. That is why our samrajya, that is why our kingdom is so flourishing. Right? So please don't go. And then Lord Krishna says, but what if I don't go? Then Dwarka people are missing me there. I have to go there also. And then Mother Kunti, she suddenly starts with thinking, and she realized that yes, because she belonged to both the Vanshas. Now you have seen, she belonged to because being a sister of Vasudevji, she also belonged to the Lord Krishna's side, that family. And here she was married into the Pandu Maharaj. So she belonged to this also. So she belonged to Vrishni Vams. Vrishni is Lord Krishna's Vams. And Pandu, Kaurav. So she belonged to these also. So now then Mother Kunti then says, okay, my dear Lord, then Ath Vishvesh Vishwa Atma Vishwa Murti Swakeshume. Yeah. Sneh Pasham Imam Chindi Dridham Pandu Suvrishnishu. She says, my dear Lord, then please cut these strong ties from both the Vanshas, from the Pandu Vansh as well as from the Vrishni Vansh. Sneh Pasham, this Pash, this bandhan, this knot, please cut from Pandu side as well as from the Vrishni Vansh. Yeah. And then Lord Krishna, as if Lord Krishna says, then if you are cutting the ties from both sides, then what do you want? Then she says to Lord Krishna that Tvai me ananya matir madhupate. Yeah. That now let my mind be ananya, without any deviation, my dear Lord. Let my mind be directed to you. Tvai me ananya vishya matir madhupate askrit. Without any deviation, my mati, my mind should flow onto your feet. How? Then she gives an example. Gangev Ogham Udanvati. Yeah, as Ganges is flowing towards the ocean, Mother Ganges or any river, somehow or other they find their way to the ocean. Yeah, wherever they find a space, they can't be stopped. So the water will flow down and it find its ultimate place. So similarly, she's saying that, my dear Lord, now let my mind or my consciousness. So let these strong ties of Pandu Vansh and Vrishni Vansh be cut, and let my consciousness unobstructed flow onto your lotus feet as the Ganges is flowing onto the ocean. Let me just surrender myself completely to you. And then she just concludes her prayers by saying, O Krishna, O friend of Krishna, yeah, Shri Krishna, Krishna Sakha Vrishni, Rishabhavani Dhruv, Rajanya Vamsh Dahanana Pavarga Virya, Govinda Godvijay Surarti, Haravatara Yogeshwara Kula Giro, Bhagavan Namaste. So she says, O Krishna, O friend of Arjun, O chief amongst the descendants of Vrishni, you are the destroyer of those political parties which are disturbing elements on this earth. Your prowess never deteriorates. You are the proprietor of the transcendental abode, and you descend to relieve the distresses of the cows, the brahmanas, and the devotees. You possess all mystic powers, and you are the preceptor of the entire universe. You are the Almighty Lord, and I offer my respectful obeisance. Now she finally concludes her prayer. by offering this set of prayers. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary, he says, to give benefit to us, to destroy unsteadiness caused by intoxication of material comfort, by giving the ointment of dangers arising out of your mercy. So all these vipadas, all these problems, Prabhuji Mataji, that we get in our life, let's consider them as an ointment. So these are the ointment of danger, and we see Krishna's hand in all those dangers. Yeah? And the whole purpose of these is to somehow or other that we can surrender to Krishna. We become Vasudev Parayana. Yeah? That is the whole objective, because if we trying to make this world a permanent home, we cannot do that. There is no scope for us to make this place a permanent home. Yeah, Dukhalyam Ashashvatam. Yeah, Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, this is full of miseries. Yeah, Bhave Asmin Klishyamanana. Yeah, Asukham. Yeah, Asukham. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, this is not a place to find the happiness. Imam Prapya Bhajasma. If you have got this human birth, then just worship me. So that concludes the prayers of Kuntī Maharani, Prabhuji Mataji, and I will stop here. We've gone over time, but please, if you have any questions, we can discuss now.